Welcome to Hannity, and this is a Fox News alert. President Trump, he is in Beijing for a highly anticipated sit-down meeting with China's president. We're going to bring that live when it happens. But first, we are following several major breaking stories tonight. Tonight, it has been 1 year, remember where you were, since President Donald Trump's historic and massive landslide election victory. And since then, the mainstream media, the left in this country, have been in full-on freak-out mode. We're going to highlight all of this out-of-control insanity and obstruction. Then the left, they're so giddy over last night's election results, but they're not telling you the truth about what it really means. We'll set the record straight. Also, former DNC chair Donna Brazile continues to spill the Democrats' dark secrets. We're going to have all the new revelations from Donna Brazile's tell-all book that the media is ignoring. And later tonight, breaking new details. We have a special Hannity monologue. We'll tell you all about how the Clintons bought and paid for the fake news Russian dossier. We have new information tonight. Also, former White House chief strategist Steve Bannon, he's coming here. He'll react to all of this. But first, tonight's breaking news, opening monologue. All right, where were you 1 year ago tonight? A historic milestone. It's been 1 year since Donald Trump was elected the 45th president of the United States. Now, the president pulled off one of the biggest upsets American politics has ever seen by easily defeating Hillary Clinton. Now, the president celebrated the anniversary by tweeting out, quote, "Congratulations to all the deplorables and the millions of people who gave us a massive 304 to 227 electoral college landslide victory." Now, President Trump's big win happened despite a media and a political class that was all unified in stopping him from reaching the Oval Office. Now, we can't forget how all the pundits, all the pollsters, all the experts, all the people in the know, the ones that talk to each other 24/7, they all thought it was impossible for you to elect Donald Trump. You may remember this.
Donald Trump has been saying that he will run for president as a Republican, which is surprising since I just assumed he was running as a joke.
Do it. Do it. Look at me. Do it. I will personally write you a campaign check now on behalf of this country, which does not want you to be president, but which badly wants you to run.
This man has got some momentum, and we better be ready for the fact that he might be leading the Republican ticket next.
I know you don't believe that, but I want to go on.
Sorry to laugh.
Which Republican candidate has the best chance of winning the general election?
Of the declared ones right now, Donald Trump.
Mr. Trump, to answer your call for political honesty, I just want to say you're not going to be president, all right? It's been fun.
President Obama will go down as perhaps the worst president in the history of the United States! Exclamation point at real Donald Trump. Well, at real Donald Trump. At least I will go down as a president.
Donald Trump has won the state of Arkansas. Fox can also project that Donald Trump will win the states of Kansas, North Dakota, South Dakota, Texas, and Wyoming. And we are about to make a major call. Fox News Decision Desk is now projecting that Donald Trump has won the state of North Carolina, projecting that Donald Trump will win the state of Utah.
A victory for Donald Trump in Ohio can be called by the Fox News Decision Desk at this point. Iowa will go to Donald Trump.
Donald Trump has won the state of Wisconsin.
Donald Trump will win the state of Florida. The Fox News Decision Desk has called Pennsylvania for Donald Trump. This means that Donald Trump will be the 45th president of the United States.
Nothing better, where were you, than hearing those swing states, one after another, call for President Trump that night. Now the left, liberals, members of the abusively biased press in this country, you all look like idiots because you all predicted Donald Trump never stood a chance. And then, after he won, you became hysterical. Let's take a look.
America is crying tonight. I'm not sure how much of America, but a very, very significant portion, and I mean literally crying. Yeah. This is a sadness. It is a mourning moment for those people, and it is a moment filled with fear. Filled with fear.
Our country is about to face some serious crises, and so I mean, buckle up. Your country needs you. It's a pretty extraordinary thing to say. If you have a son in the Marine Corps and that you don't trust the commander-in-chief. The people in the military defend the Constitution.
This was a white lash. This was a white lash against a changing country. It was a white lash against a black president in part.
It's funny, but it's also pathetic. And it shows you just how abusively biased and corrupt and dishonest the media in this country really is. The media, they couldn't understand why Donald Trump won, why he was victorious that night. Now, the night of election night, it's usually a night off for me, but I was encouraged by my boss at the time to call in and join my Fox News colleagues to explain why he won. This is election night 1 year ago tonight.
To me, this was predictable, but on the other hand, this is a modern-day political miracle you're witnessing before your eyes right now. And that is to go up against everybody and all the pundits and all the pollsters and all the prognosticators out there and defy all the odds. And it's the American people that have said enough is enough. They're tired of the corruption, the cesspool, draining the swamp. All of these things were resonating. You know, when you look at a state like Wisconsin, what are they saying? They want their jobs back. They want the labor participation rate to be lower. In other words, more people having jobs. They want America to be energy independent. They're tired of a horrible educational system. They're tired of Obamacare rates going through the roof. This is not complicated. What's happening now is not working. And these guys, and Donald Trump has gone out there and he outworked Hillary Clinton and he put forward a much better agenda. And America said enough is enough with failed policies. That's what this election was about.
That was 1 year ago tonight. Now, don't forget that just about every single news outlet but the Fox News channel was exposed by WikiLeaks and Julian Assange as having colluded with the Clinton campaign. And, of course, there's the liberal crybaby snowflakes. Now, this is a video of Hillary Clinton's election headquarters after President Trump delivered that crushing defeat a year ago tonight. They're probably still crying tonight in mommy and daddy's basement because they were triggered by what happened. We also saw schools, remember, colleges, they were offering these poor, grieving, spoiled brats counseling. Other liberals needed things like therapy dogs, hot cocoa, Play-Doh, just to cope. In retrospect, it's actually laughable how lame these people were and how out of touch, by the way. You know, for example, Hollywood liberals and celebrities, they joined this collective left-wing freakout, launching all kinds of vicious and vile attacks against President Trump, and it's gone on for an entire year. Watch this.
How dare he say the things he does? Of course I want to punch him in the face.
Right. Yes. I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House. I am a nasty woman. I'm not as nasty as a man who looks like he bathes in Cheeto dust.
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president? I want to clarify, I'm not an actor. I lie for a living.
Just like Donald.
However, it's been a while. And maybe it's time.
What a year. And if you thought that was bad, we also have, remember, Kathy Griffin's disgusting photo shoot that we always have to give you a viewer warning about because it's so graphic. Here, Griffin posing like an ISIS fighter with a fake bloody head that looks like President Trump. And if that wasn't enough, there was the Shakespeare in the Park play where a Trump-like character was assassinated on stage. This liberal hatred for 1 year, no bounds do they know. And of course, the Destroy Trump media, well, they got in on all the action. They've become so unhinged, lying, dishonesty at a level we've never seen before. We've had to now coin new terms just to describe them. Trump derangement syndrome, the media's Trump psychosis. Watch this.
There's a sign out there that's been hung up in the White House or outside the White House saying, if you're not white, you're not especially welcome.
This is a man who is not well. He alternated between being a whiny 6-year-old who's had his Nintendo taken away and between being the cranky old man who's out there condemning everyone who doesn't worship him adequately.
Donald Trump, short of only maybe Woodrow Wilson and Andrew Jackson, is being himself more than any other previous president with disgraceful racial views.
We can surely say his words have absolutely emboldened white supremacists.
You know, it's a tough night. I think for normal people, you got a lot of people at home going through Kleenex right now. I'm just hurt. I'm sitting here hurt, and I think a lot of people are hurt tonight.
The presidency itself is in question. Our relationships around the world, in question. Trust in the president himself, in question.
He said today, America first. It was not just the racial, I shouldn't say racial, the Hitlerian background to it.
Is Donald Trump competent to be president?
President Trump say America first. Tonight, President Trump put himself first.
A little whiff of fascism tonight, I think is fair to say.
Absolutely.
Here you have a deranged president or a pathologically lying president lying about the operations of the American government.
Trump's critics, those who are worried about this president and this White House, saw a live special television event brought to you by narcissism, thin skin, chaos, and deeply personal grievances.
Imagine saying those things about President Obama? Never. This media has treated President Trump so badly, even former Democratic President Jimmy Carter was forced to admit he's never seen anything like it. And by the way, we can throw in the unprecedented obstruction, of course, from the Democrats. President Trump could literally cure cancer, turn water into wine, end poverty, and the left in this country and the media would still never give him credit. They hate him that much. And Democrats have now made it clear their goal is simple: to damage and to destroy this president by any means necessary. Just look at the last year. It is beyond disgusting, and it is a tremendous disservice to you, the American people, especially the forgotten men and women that this election was about. And I've been telling you, there are 5 forces actively working against this president. They did it before, they're doing it now. The deep state, the Democratic Party, the destroy Trump, ever corrupt, lying media, never Trumpers, and weak, spineless establishment Republicans. They were against him before the election. They are against him even more today. All they care about is their hatred. They live on this hatred for Donald Trump. Also tonight, Democrats, the liberal media, they're ecstatic. Okay, they won a couple of races last night, and they were all predicted to win those races in solid liberal blue states. Now take a look at how the media reacted to Democrats winning, let's see, states that Donald Trump didn't win. Watch this.
It feels like tonight's history is being written by movie writers. It is so dramatic.
Unsubtle movie writers.
This was a repudiation of Donald Trump that will be heard around Virginia, around the nation, and yes, around the world. The whole world is watching.
Stinging rebuke. A tough election night for President Trump and the GOP. Democrats with key victories in Virginia and New Jersey.
It was a very big night for Democrats. All eyes were on Virginia, perhaps the biggest political prize. This is voters' first strong rebuke of President Trump.
They sent a message to Trump big time in the course of this, and talk about when he comes back to Washington, it may be his forbidden city. It was a night of total diversity, and I think that not only a rejection of Trump, it was basically a rejection of what he stood for.
Wait a minute. They didn't act like that a year ago. Oh, they were at a funeral a year ago. You listen to that, you would think the Democrats won the presidency, had supermajorities in Congress, but that is not even close to what happened. Here's what did happen. Democrats scored predictable victories in states that Donald Trump didn't win in 2016. New Jersey, shocker. New York, the Commonwealth of Virginia, Washington State. It was not a rebuke of the White House, or not even really surprising. Let's take Virginia's gubernatorial race. Ed Gillespie, he lost. Ed Gillespie was too timid. He didn't embrace the president's agenda. And afterwards, the president even tweeted, quote, Ed Gillespie worked hard, but he didn't embrace me or what I stand for. Don't forget, Republicans won 4 out of 4 House seats. And with the economy doing record numbers, we'll continue to win even bigger than before. And Ed Gillespie had a chance that, in fact, you have Steve Bannon, who's going to join us in a minute. He offered to campaign for Gillespie, but his team declined. The president offered to campaign. Then in the great liberal bastion of New Jersey, a Democrat's going to be the governor next year. That's not surprising when you look at Governor Chris Christie's poll numbers. Sorry, Chris, but look at it. hovering around 15%. Couldn't be a dog catcher with those numbers. That's the lowest in the nation. The worst number Quinnipiac has found in any state in more than 20 years. So it's already incredibly difficult for a Republican to win in New Jersey. Chris Christie deserves credit for winning. Christie's poll numbers made it impossible this time. But the media will never report that as the reason. They also never reported on these facts. Want to look at a president that had a tough time? Look at Obama while he was in the Oval Office. Democrats lost the presidency, 13 U.S. Senate seats, 64 U.S. House seats, 13 governorships, and 33 state houses. That is an electoral tidal wave. What happened last night was not, no matter how the left-wing media tries to spin it. Now, before we move on, I do want to issue a stern warning tonight to congressional Republicans, especially you spineless ones in the Senate. If you don't start passing and the president's agenda, the things that you promised 1 year from tonight, you are going to face the consequences of the 2018 midterms. You know what, Republicans, the American people are sick of you making all kinds of promises for the past 8+ years and failing miserably to keep them. You break your promises, you're going to pay at the polls. And by the way, it's not going to be Donald Trump's fault. Now, finally tonight, we just explained how Democrats, they're all smiles last night, but not a year ago. But they shouldn't be, because their party is in total shambles tonight. Now, thanks to former DNC chairwoman Donna Brazile, we are now finding out how crooked, how deeply crooked, corrupt, and frankly, what a lying Democratic machine Clinton and her party friends were. For example, Donna Brazile revealed that she was told that she didn't need to know about who was funding the fake news, anti-Trump, Russian propaganda lying dossier. Really? Watch this.
I have a question for you, and I hope you answer this honestly, because there are a lot of questions about this Russian dossier, and there are evidence that has come out that the DNC helped fund it. Did you know that was happening, and were you surprised to hear it if you didn't?
I asked one question on November 4th, and I was told that I did not need to know, and so no, I did not know.
Didn't need to know. Donna Brazile told to stop asking questions and that the dossier, none of her business. She's only the chairwoman of the DNC. She replaced Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and she did it for no pay, and also said she had no idea, Debbie Wasserman Schultz. And the current DNC leadership has also denied any involvement. So then who knew about the dossier? And as you just heard, Donna Brazile, what she was saying, she was kept in the dark because she didn't control the money. And as she revealed, it was actually Hillary Clinton and her campaign that controlled the purse strings at the DNC. They had the authority, by the way, when it came to strategy, personnel, decisions, budgeting, data, analytics, and mailings. Poor Bernie. Brazile also blasts liberal, fake news, CNN anchor, fake Jake Tapper. In her book, Brazile says that she felt betrayed by Tapper after he criticized her for leaking Democratic debate questions to Hillary. Remember the stupid Donald Duck protesters from the campaign? Donna Brazile pointed out it was Hillary Clinton's idea to pay those agitators to follow Donald Trump around. And Brazile also admitted that President Trump was right about Democrats paying protesters. Also, Brazile was right in that the Clinton campaign was a cult. Here was a reaction to all this. Former Trump White House chief strategist, executive chairman, Breitbart News, Mr. Bannon. Where were you 1 year ago tonight?
I was with the president in the war room on the 14th floor of our campaign headquarters, and then went up to the residence when I got closer to victory.
All right, let me ask you about yesterday, because you have been very outspoken. You're tired of weak Republicans, but more importantly, they're trying to say last night was a referendum on Donald Trump. True or false?
Well, it's definitely false. I think what we had is an establishment candidate. Ed Gillespie won a primary, very hard-fought primary versus Corey Stewart, and then really didn't try to embrace President Trump or really the Trump program until very late, where he just kind of, basically talked about some of the issues, which I thought, he should try to do more of. He never invited President Trump. I think he had President Bush campaigned with him, Marco Rubio, Condi Rice, but he didn't invite President Trump. He really didn't invite Corey Stewart, who really is the titular head of the Trump movement in Virginia. So I think there are a lot of things that Ed Gillespie could have done, and I think in hindsight, he wishes he had done, to generate more enthusiasm out there among the Trump faithful to kind of turn out. And I think the race in Virginia, look, We lost by 5 points. I'm a Virginian, and I never had a lot of confidence. It was never in our battle plan that we were going to win Virginia. I thought even with Donald Trump at the head of the ticket, we would get to win 1 or 2 points. We lost it by 5 points. I mean, Virginia, because of Northern Virginia, is really not a purple state anymore. It's a blue state. When Donald Trump wins 304 electoral votes and wins states like Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Iowa, and comes within 1 point of Minnesota, when he loses Virginia by 5 points, it shows you how blue it is. So.
What do you make
of
the revelations?
Gillespie needed to embrace Trump much more.
Now we know that the fix was in. Trump was right. Bernie Sanders, the system was rigged. I'll use Donna Brazil's words in the primary. She also tried to fix the general election, though, because now we know Clinton herself paid for the phony Russian dossier that others was spreading around, all these lies, Russian lies that she paid for. The fix was in there. The fix was in Comey rights or exoneration before he ever did an investigation. The fix was in on the tarmac when Bill Clinton met with Loretta Lynch. There's a lot of fixing that Clinton is involved in. Your reaction after the fact?
Well, at GAI, an organization I was the chairman of, we did the Clinton Cash Book and actually drilled down on Uranium One to find out all the nefarious activities around that we hope that Grassley's Judiciary Committee and eventually the Attorney General, Sessions, I hope he appoints a special counsel, a special prosecutor to go after that. But I think what you see in the Democratic Party right now, the corruption of it, is, we started a civil war. And, Sean, you've been kind of part of this for the last really 8 or 9 years against the Republican establishment. That's how Eric Cantor got blown out as a majority leader. That's how John Boehner got sent home. That's how so many seats were won at the congressional level in the House, in Congress. By conservatives. So the conservative movement has really been at war with the Republican establishment in this kind of internal civil war for many, many years. The Democrats haven't done it. And I've said from day one that Bernie Sanders in the campaign against Hillary Clinton was really, the thing was rigged. You could kind of tell that. But I say it was like a pillow fight. He never really went after her with all the material that was out there about Uranium One and that was in Clinton Cash. So I think you're seeing with the Donna Brazil revelations really the beginning of the civil war in the Democratic Party, and just not one election
Party, you mean?
In a blue state. No, a civil war in the Democratic Party. I think they're going to start. I think that's starting tonight. I think it started last night. And even one election victory in a blue state like Virginia is not going to be able to gloss over that. I think you're going to see Democrats in the progressive left really go after the Wall Street cronies of Clinton that control the Democratic Party. And I think they're going to have a lot of division in the Democratic Party in the years to come.
All right, stay right there. We'll have more with Steve Bannon right after this. But before we go to a break, by the way, you think the media over this last year has lost their collective minds? What we just showed you over President Trump? You go to my Facebook page right now and vote in our poll. More with Bannon and an important monologue. Breaking news tonight on the new developments, Uranium One and the dossier. Straight ahead. And welcome back to Hannity as we continue with former White House chief strategist Steve Bannon is with us. I go over this whole thing. Now we know that Hillary basically rigged and stole a primary. There's the evidence is overwhelming, incontrovertible. Then she tried to, by spending money. We know she spent the money. She controlled the DNC. They spent the money. And they paid for this phony Russian dossier, Russian lies, propaganda to influence the American people, bought and paid for by Clinton. Then we've got this whole issue of Uranium One. Mueller knew in 2009 about, and so did Eric Holder, about bribery, extortion, kickbacks, money laundering, and racketeering. A year later, the Uranium One deal goes through. Steve, we have to import uranium because we don't have enough uranium in this country. No one has ever given any simple answer. Why would we ever, knowing especially the crimes committed by Putin's thugs in this country, ever allow Putin control of 20% of our uranium? And I'm not even talking about the Clintons getting more money in speaking fees and $145 million kickback to the foundation. When you look at these things in light of what is going on for a year, when there's no evidence of Trump-Russia collusion, as Dianne Feinstein said on Sunday, what are your thoughts?
I think what you're seeing is that the opposition party media, the progressive left, Democrats, and the corporatists they're trying to nullify the 2016 election. I mean, it's very obvious what's going on. I'm here in Macomb County Michigan, which is the home of the Reagan Democrats, that gave President Trump an overwhelming victory on election night, and actually had the Detroit Free Press reverse their call of the state of Michigan for Hillary Clinton and give it later to Donald Trump. And the working men and women of this county are the ones that did it. And what you're seeing is that the elites in this country don't want the people in Macomb County to have a voice. They are trying to nullify the 2016 election. And they're doing it with every underhanded thing they hit. That's why the entire Russian collusion thing is a joke. The Clintons have been so corrupt
Steve,
for
wait
so
a minute.
long.
There was collusion. Hillary Clinton bought and paid for Russian lies.
Right.
It was
right.
Use whatever term you
it's
want.
It's incumbent. I tell you, that's incumbent to me upon Grassley in the committee and also Senator Sessions. If Mueller won't pick this up in his investigation, when he's now looking at guys' tax returns like Paul Manafort's and charges of wire fraud and things that happened 10 years ago, then it seems to me that Senator Sessions has to look into the Clinton situation, particularly Uranium One. I think a special counsel ought to be designated for Uranium One. The American people got to get to the bottom of that.
There's crimes on. Listen, there's crimes on the email server. Known crimes, cover-up, obstruction, espionage. All of these things we've gone through. I won't repeat them, but you're right. 20% of uranium, really? And Mueller knew. How could he investigate anything Russia? Let me ask you a political question.
Yes, sir.
And I know this is important because you have said you were going after those people. Look, we see people like Ben Sass and Jeff Flake and John McCain and other people. They hate the president. They haven't gotten a single thing accomplished. To the credit of the House did pass almost 300 bills, including, sanctuary cities and Kate's Law. They got some work done. And they passed a health care bill, imperfect, but they got it done. And my question is this. Isn't it at the end of the day, you and Reince Priebus, Reince is more establishment than you. You're a conservative outsider, kind of like, I think we agree on a lot of politics, so you're wrong on not cutting taxes for everybody. That's another night. But you guys made it work. Why can't the Republicans that maybe don't like Trump personally look at his agenda and say, I asked them, what part of his agenda beyond say, trade that isn't conservative? Is Gorsuch not a conservative? Is his tax plan, except for the not across the board, not conservative? Immigration, not conservative?
Listen, this is what I gave the speech about tonight, about victory and about winning more victories in the future. Reince and I came together as soon as I was designated CEO of the campaign. The only way we won in the 85 days we had to go was to put together a coalition. We had the religious right, we had the Tea Party groups, we had the populists, we had the economic nationalists, and we had the Republican establishment. And Reince and I had a great working relationship. We had a great working relationship in the White House. I think what you're seeing is really the donor class, and particularly in the United States Senate with Mitch McConnell. The House has actually voted on 180 bills that the Senate has not taken up, including many bills that would be a very difficult vote for Joe Manchin and Claire McCaskill and John Tester and Heidi Heitkamp and other these red state Democrats that we need to take down in 2018. And Mitch McConnell's refused to do it. I tell you, Sean, I'm to the point that I think Mitch McConnell, to really bring unity to the Republican Party and get things done, I think Mitch McConnell ought to tender his resignation. What he ought to do is offer to resign as soon as taxes are done. We can't do it in the middle of taxes, but I think Mitch McConnell tomorrow should tender his resignation, said, hey, after we get taxes done, I will step aside and we'll have a revote on majority leader. Because I got to tell you, there needs to be a sense of urgency in the Senate. Over the last about week, they're now going to work 6 days a week. They're talking about canceling Thanksgiving. They passed the budget. They're starting to move on federal judges. But that's all because, quite frankly, we put the spotlight on Mitch McConnell and said that this guy is just not supporting the president, and he's not supporting the president. The president needs support. If you're going to drain the swamp.
He's not helping the forgotten men and women. The people in this country, their inactivity, their lack of urgency, their many vacations. It's not help. The president, just by getting rid of burdensome Obama-era regulations, look what's happened to the economy. Imagine if they would explode the economy with this bill. But they have given up on Reagan supply-side conservative tax cuts across the board. Reagan went from 70 to 28% top margin rates. This is actually a private issue you and I disagree with on that part. They're great on the corporate tax cuts. They're great on the repatriation. The president's been great on energy independence. That all stimulates the economy, manufacturing. Factories are going to be built as a result.
Well, I think that this tax package is not perfect. I really don't think it's fundamental tax reform.
Yeah.
I think we're going to have to wait on that. I think what we're looking now is a tax cut. Let's get this tax cut through. Look, President Trump's policies on economic nationalism have the economy growing at over 3% right now. All the geniuses, right, on MSNBC and CNN, the Wall Street Journal, they never thought that President Trump would get to 3% on his economic nationalism. He has the lowest Hispanic, unemployment rate in 11 years, the lowest black unemployment in 17 years. Wages are starting to rise among the working class and construction and agriculture. President Trump, there's more business investment. Yeah, because his program is working. His program of saying, hey, I'm going to have tariffs, I'm going to have quotas, unless you start putting your factories in the United States is working.
I agree with you on McConnell. Step up, get the job done, or get out. I'm tired of it. Steve, good to see you.
He should tender his resignation tonight for after the tax cuts.
I know you hate doing interviews. We appreciate you coming on the program. Thank you. When we come back, new information about Donna Brazile, about the Clinton corruption. You will hear directly from Donna next. And what a fiery debate. Lanny Davis, Tesla, and Doug Schoen. Don't miss that. Hannity, Fox News alert. President Trump, he is in Beijing as we speak. He is set to meet with the Chinese president. We'll bring that to you live as it happens. Also tonight, the former DNC chairwoman, Donna Brazile, continues to make the media rounds for her new tell-all book. Listen to what she had to say about Hillary Clinton's campaign. This is amazing.
Bottom line it for us, why did they lose? Was it, at the end of the day, arrogance?
Yes, Joe. It was a cult. I felt like it was a cult. You could not penetrate them. I mean, I'm a grassroots organizer. I know street politics better than I know sweet politics. I know how to touch people where they live, work, play, and pray. But I cannot help a candidate, Joe, if I don't have the resources. If I cannot spend the resources that the party is raising, because there's a blind agreement between a campaign.
All right, joining us now with reaction, former White House special counsel to the president, Lanny Davis is back, sir. Former National Justice Director for Bernie Sanders, Teslin Figaro is with us, and former Clinton pollster, Fox News contributor Doug Schoen. Teslin, I want you to address Lanny. I've known Lanny for years. He's probably the biggest, best BFF friends with Hillary Clinton. Donna Brazile used the word rigged.
And Sean Hannity.
Okay, fair point. We get along really well. What do you have to say to him as a Bernie supporter about knowing that it was rigged and you were disenfranchised?
Yeah, I watched the interview this morning with Donna Brazile, and she, tried to, kind of use the word cancer instead of rigged. And, I was sitting there watching, saying, no matter what word we use, cancer, leukemia, lupus, whatever you want to call it, thumb on the scale, the bottom line is it was rigged. It was tipped in their favor. And in order to really move forward as a party, every day that we continue to keep denying the obvious fact that there was an agreement that was made outside of the fundraising agreement that said that they had total control of strategy, you will continue to see people, not just Bernie Sanders supporters, but those who actually believe in this American Democrat process, that will continue to be offended by the audacity of those who are trying to spin this into something else other than the truth, which is it was rigged in Hillary Clinton's favor long before she became the nominee.
Lanny, respond to that.
Well, Hillary Clinton defeated a person I respected greatly, Bernie Sanders, by 4 million votes.
She cheated.
A majority of elected delegates.
She controlled the DNC.
She defeated by you can use adjectives like rigged or whatever. And I've talked with Donna
words,
today.
The head of the DNC's words, not mine.
Hey, Sean, you didn't interrupt my distinguished friend.
I'm helping you out. I'm educating the audience.
4 million votes more were cast for Hillary Clinton than for Bernie Sanders, and she won a majority of elected delegates. And the DNC memo that I respect Donna very much, and she was offended by that agreement. I assure you there's nobody rational who will say that agreement is why Hillary Clinton defeated Bernie Sanders by 4 million more votes than he got.
You're playing a game with the American people. In order to win super delegates, those people had power to make a decision. I worked on the ground, sir, and super delegates had powers to tell their communities, the communities that trusted these super delegates, to tell people which way to go. When you have a sitting commissioner in a town that that's saying, I support Hillary Clinton, naturally her voters are going to follow that superdelegate.
Let me bring in Doug
to sit
Schoen.
up and play a game.
Right.
Yeah, to play a game as if you don't understand.
Hang on, we got to get everyone in. Doug, hang on, guys.
Number 4 million more votes.
Okay, but she cheated.
4 million more lives.
She controlled hiring.
4 million.
Hang on, Lanny. She controlled personnel. She controlled the purse strings. They had a secret agreement. They've all been out there lying. Right. Sanders signed the same agreement. Lie. They've been saying the Clinton DNC agreement will only apply to the general, not the prime. Lie. They say that evidence has emerged that the content of WikiLeaks documents, emails were doctored. Lied. They all lied.
Sean, this is all rotten. This isn't about, oh, it was 4 million votes or this. It was a basically corrupt deal used to give her a massive leg up, as Teslin says, on superdelegates, on message, and most of all on fundraising. I think while we're here, we shouldn't lose sight of the fact that there was this dossier, $13 million. How did it get paid for? What did it come up with? We need a special prosecutor.
You know, I'm looking, by the way, Melania Trump will keep that up on the screen live in China. You need a special prosecutor. Lanny, look, I love you, but you've got to. As an American, hang on, well, you know what I mean. I don't really love you. I like you as a friend. But you have got to say here that when Hillary Clinton, now it's rigged, and she signs a special agreement, she's in control of hiring, she's in control of money, she's in control of personnel, and all of that was said, that's rigging. That is disenfranchising. She, you know, all that superdelegate, we all knew she rigged it. And I know you like her. I know you're friends with her. I know you love the Clintons. But when you're disenfranchising Americans like Teslin and Doug Schoen and others that really wanted Bernie to win, and then you're trying to do the same thing in the general election, bought and paid for Russian lies, you got to say, Lanny, you got to say the Clintons are just crooked. Corrupt.
And then to spin it now is just a damn shame. I mean, let's just be honest about it. It's a damn shame anybody that tries to spin it.
I was for her in the primary, Sean, and I moved away from her because I couldn't stand what I was seeing.
All right, let's get Lanny in. He's going to yell at me in a minute.
No, Doug Schoen and I are old friends, and we have some disagreements, but I just stay with facts. I didn't mention superdelegates. I mentioned average people across the country. 9 out of 10 African Americans voted for Hillary Clinton at the ballot box. The DNC didn't influence 4 million more people to vote for her than Bernie Sanders.
Sir, you
the
said
people spoke, and then the party came together. What happened last night in Virginia
of superdelegates. No, sir, I'm sorry. Let's roll the tape. You said the majority. Yeah. Go ahead, be quiet then. Feel free to be quiet.
You
said the majority of superdelegates. No, sir, I'm sorry. Let's roll the tape.
No, I
said
elected.
The majority of superdelegates. No. You said the majority of superdelegates, over 1/3, voted for Hillary Clinton. Yes, you did.
Elected.
And that is the reality. 1/3 of superdelegates voted for Hillary Clinton because they were told to. Period. End of discussion.
She won a majority of elected delegates. That's a fact. I know that makes you unhappy.
Because they were told to. That's a fact.
Doug, do you disagree with that fact?
I was on the ground working. They were told to. That was a fact.
What I would say is
she
won the nomination.
If
I could finish, Lanny, please. She won the nomination. The game was rigged. The Russian dossier stinks. I moved away. I said there'd be a constitutional crisis if she was elected. We're effectively having one without her being in the Oval Office. So all I say, if we're going to look at the Russian deal on the Republican side, look at it on the Democratic side. What's wrong with that, Sean?
What's wrong with that, Lanny? Let Lanny answer. What would be wrong with looking at these very issues? Because she bought and paid for Russian lies that were meant to impact the American people and may have been used to cause a judge to make a decision for a FISA warrant and surveillance on the opposition party. We'll find out soon if that's true, but I suspect it might have been used as evidence.
First, as you know, Sean, I am interested how moving away, Doug, has changed when I say a fact and he doesn't address whether it's a fact or not.
I said what you were saying were facts,
so I only
but there were larger issues, Lanny, of corruption.
And Hillary Clinton was the popular leader and victor. What happened to the DNC, I respect Donna Brazile. She felt, she said to me today, disrespected, and I honor her feelings. We've been friends for 30 years. But she also said that agreement didn't affect 4 million people more than Bernie Sanders won, 9 out of 10 African Americans, and elected,
Polls don't
That's not what she said.
elected delegates.
Let me go to another. Hang on, let me
Those
bring
are
up one other
facts,
thing.
folks.
Well, I have Lanny.
Those are all facts.
All right, let me. Well, we just disagree to disagree, all of us. But let me. But the audience can the audience can decide. Let me bring this up, Lanny. Do you know that America doesn't have enough uranium? America has to import uranium. In 2009, our government, that means our FBI, they had an informant, and they discovered a network of Vladimir Putin thugs, the hostile regime of Russia, the unsavory character Vladimir Putin. That Vladimir Putin had people using bribery, extortion, money laundering, and kickbacks, and also racketeering, so that he could gain a foothold in the uranium market in America. Mueller knew it, and so did Eric Holder. Eric Holder, like Hillary, signed off to give 20% control of America's uranium, the two of them, 2 of 9, to Vladimir Putin. At the time, Bill Clinton's speaking fees doubled, and then 145+ million associated with people that benefited from that deal got kicked back to the Clinton Foundation. Why can you answer a simple? Why would America that needs to import uranium ever have, with knowing what they knew about crimes, ever sign off on a deal that gave control to Russia? Why would you ever do that?
All right, let me give you 3 facts. Number 1, the deal would not allow any export of any U.S. uranium.
It's happened already. It's been trucked to
Fact.
Canada.
It's happened.
It's happened. It's happened.
Fact.
Second fact. That's a fact.
Excuse me.
Second fact.
Lanny, I'll bet you $10,000 for your favorite charity. It went to Europe, it went to Canada, and it probably went to Asia.
Yeah, those are facts.
The
It's been
deal
reported.
approved.
They coupled with the trucking company. You got to keep up with the news, Lanny.
I said,
go ahead.
if you're not allowing me to speak,
go
then
ahead,
no one's
go
going to
ahead.
understand all my great facts.
Go ahead.
Second fact, the Utah Nuclear Regulatory Commission, Utah, conservative Republicans approved the deal. Third fact, 18 federal agencies approved the deal. And Hillary Clinton had nothing. The Nuclear Regulatory Agency.
How do you explain?
If
Isn't
you
it a
include
conflict
the CIA,
of interest,
the
though?
Defense Department, the Treasury Department, the Commerce Department, and the
Isn't it
Utah
okay that we look
Nuclear
at
Regulatory
from a special
Commission,
prosecutor,
all conservative
independent of those in
Republicans
office,
approved
what
the deal.
happened?
I agree with you.
Just get an independent look.
Lanny, here's some other
Special
facts.
prosecutor with all these people part of the vast left wing, the Utah Regulatory Commission, Doug.
Why
all
at the,
Republicans.
Hang on. Why at the time?
I'd like to know. Let's investigate.
Let's investigate. Why at the time, Lanny?
Investigate the Utah Regulatory Commission.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Investigate them all.
Why at the
Be
time?
bipartisan.
Why at the time did Bill Clinton double his speaking fees? Why at the time? Why afterwards did they get $145 million kicked back to the Clinton Foundation? And why doesn't Hillary at least give that money back? And why don't we hire the special counsel to be fair and balanced? And we have a special prosecutor. Dianne Feinstein said on Sunday, no evidence of Trump-Russia collusion. They've been at this a year with zero evidence. Yet she paid for a dossier, bought and paid for Russian lies to rig the general election to the American people. And then she gets all this money she signed off on, her department, on Russian uranium that did leave the country. Why would anyone give away uranium when we don't have enough?
Listen, I know this upsets you when I do facts and you do rhetoric.
Are you calling me a liar,
like
Lanny?
each other.
I gave you facts.
No, I just stick to.
Tell me one thing I said that's not true.
Your logic is the following: the rooster crows and the sun rises. Therefore, the rooster causes the sun to rise.
Very cute.
That's your
and by the way,
I don't buy that.
By the way,
I
Monica
don't buy that
Lewinsky.
Logic, but some people do.
You sound so clear.
Well, guess what? Some people also do. It's also called the chickens come home to roost.
Where'd that
and
come
at the
from?
bottom line, since you're bringing up roosters, let's talk about the chickens coming home to roost as well. It's okay, Lanny. Poor Lanny. He's
That's a good
delusional. I
line.
get it. It is a good line, and it's also very true. And I know it hurts. You know, Halloween is over. Take the costume off. It's over. Take the Clinton costume off. We've been tricked and we've been treated. So at the end of the day, it's over with. It's over. Get over it. We're all going to heal. We're all going to move forward. Yeah, I do have some awesome lines, to be quite honest with you, but it's also the fact. Let's just go ahead and admit.
I like that.
Hey, Doug, I think Go ahead, Tesla. Go ahead. I think at the end of the day, whether Lanny likes it or not, there's going to be a special prosecutor. There's going to be a special counsel appointed in all this. And I would say, and Lanny is a good lawyer. I give him a lot of credit on that.
He's a good advocate.
But let me tell you, he's got to know that,
look,
it's like Bill Clinton said, we were alone, but I never really thought we were alone. Oh, okay. You didn't know?
To me, this is real simple. There are questions that beg answers. $13 million went from Perkins Coal out for this dossier, and nobody knows where the money came from. Let's investigate. What did Steele get? What did the Russians get? What money was paid?
All right, let's answer. Let's all speak at once now, one at a time. Lanny, hang on. I got a question. Lanny, I got a question. Okay. Hillary Clinton, Lanny, we now know that Hillary Clinton paid for the lying, salacious dossier. She paid, and the DNC that she ran paid. She paid $9 million from her campaign. Now, and she even admitted it. It was full of lies. It was full of salacious lies. It was full of Russian lies, propaganda, disinformation. Hillary Clinton's campaign paid for it. Why don't we do what Doug said and investigate and find the truth? Why would you be against that?
It's pretty simple, Lanny. Let's investigate. You're a fair-minded man.
I don't know what that has to do with. I don't know what that has to do with the tsunami that occurred against Donald Trump last night in Virginia.
It doesn't have anything to do with the tsunami. It does have everything to do with right reason and responsible government.
And so many.
It's just the right thing to do.
You and I can talk
Democrats
over each other.
did win.
Hang on, Lanny. Why don't we just hire? Why don't we find the truth out? Why did she? Here's my simple question: why would Hillary pay for a lying dossier from this group with Russian misinformation? That's right, the lying Russian dossier.
Is there a
with
fact
salacious
in there?
lies that tried to influence our election?
Salacious, is that a factor in adjective?
Well,
this is Sean Hannity's
salacious being the report said Donald Trump was in the Ritz with two hookers peeing in the bed. That's the lie that was spread. Sorry to be so honest.
Is that what you mean by salacious? I'll tell you what's a fact. Virginia tsunami last night. You're in big trouble,
You're
Sean.
You're a talking point, Lanny. You're on the road.
4 years from now.
I mean, we're talking about what happened and what may have been done that was wrong. Let's investigate. Sure, Lanny, the Democrats did win in Virginia. That is a fact, but it has nothing to do with this conversation.
By the way, Trump didn't win Virginia. He didn't win New Jersey. He didn't win Washington.
It's a tsunami against Donald Trump. A repudiation of Steve Bannon's economic nationalism last night in Virginia.
Why
9 percentage points.
Why did Hillary pay? Hang on. Why did Hillary pay $9 million for what turns out to be Russian lies to influence the American electorate in this country? Russian lies, and she even admits it.
If you don't interrupt me, I will give you the answer.
I'm waiting.
The investment made in opposition research by both the Trump campaign, which happened to have Donald Trump Jr. saying, I love it, when meeting with a Russian agent within a few floors of his dad, and paying for a research dossier that contains some elements of truth and some elements not of truth. One is collusion with the Russian government because there was an agent in the room. The other is paying for opposition research. Now, those are facts that distinguish the two, but you may not agree with that.
And they both require investigation. Let's be fair, Lanny. You're a fair man. Let's go investigate and see what the real truth is on the uranium deal.
All right, let's go back to Tesla. Let's go back to Tesla. Go ahead.
I appreciate you calling me a fair man, Doug. That's
you
a
are.
Very nice thing.
You are a fair man, and I think what he's saying is if there's nothing to hide, there's nothing to see here, let's open up the box and let's see. Let's open up Pandora's box and see. There's enough investigation to go around. There's enough indictments to go around. Let's go ahead and see what happened. Let's see what happened with the DNC as well. Let's open up the books. Let's see what Donna's talking about. She talks about this cancer. Let's get to the bottom of it. You know, let's look for a healing process. I just don't think you're doing any Democrats. You're not doing the party any favors by continuing to spin this into anything
Lanny,
other than the truth.
Lanny, let me ask you a question.
Here's what Donna told me today.
Let me ask a question another way.
I'll tell you what Donna told me on the phone today. What Donna said today is that she had deep feelings, that offended feelings that I feel badly about. She's been a great friend of mine for many years. She also said that what happened at the DNC did not influence the result of Hillary Clinton winning.
That's speculation.
A large margin of popular votes and elected
Counselor, that would be speculation.
That's what Donna Brazile said to me today. That
she said to you, but she said in her book rigged. But let's put that aside. Let me ask you this.
Well, that's
so. Put on your legal.
She had deep feelings that were offended.
Come on, you help me out here. Put on your legal hat for a second. 2009, we had an FBI informant that was able to penetrate an effort by Vladimir Putin to corner a part of our uranium market. They discovered, based on emails, documents, his and tape recordings, and him being inside the network, they discovered bribery, extortion, racketeering, money laundering, and kickbacks occurred. This is what they discovered. Robert Mueller was the FBI director in 2009. This is before the 2010 Uranium One deal. Why would Robert Mueller be allowed to investigate? As you can see, by the way, there's the First Lady, Melania Trump, in China as we speak in Beijing, which is beyond historic, which we also should be talking about. Why would Robert Mueller have any moral authority, and why doesn't he have to recuse himself with anything Russia? Because he knew what Putin was doing. He knew the crimes that were being committed in our country, and he didn't obviously lift a finger to stop it and stop the uranium deal when that was the whole goal of Putin from the beginning. Put your legal hat on. This isn't about Hillary.
So let me respond. The last time I heard Donald Trump describe Putin, he described him as a great man, Russia as a great country.
You're ducking.
And his son was meeting with a Russian governmental agent.
You say answer
so
the
he's
question,
very
Lanny.
soft on all
Answer
these
the
people
question.
that you call Russian extort. I just did. If
No, you
Robert
didn't.
Mueller is supposed to investigate as the FBI director, he had nothing to hold him
Robert
back
Mueller
from
didn't
investigating
stop it.
what
That's
why
might have
we
been
need a
crime.
special
I know that this
prosecutor and a new
president
attorney general,
praises
Sean.
all
It's
these
that simple.
Russian thugs that you have described. The president of the United States today talks about Vladimir Putin.
All right, you give me
as
another answer. All right,
Somebody
let me ask
who's a
another
great
question.
man.
Do you think it's unethical that Bill Clinton,
Quoting the president,
two legal questions, really simple. Was it unethical that Bill Clinton met with Loretta Lynch just days before her decision on a tarmac for a private meeting? That's number one. And was it unethical of James Comey to write an exoneration of Hillary before he even did the investigation and
Using the
interviewed
words
the key?
grossly negligent.
Yeah, and using the word. Is that ethically wrong, Lanny? I know you love the Clintons, but you got to, at some point, step out of your partisanship here. Tell the truth. Is Loretta Lynch wrong?
If you
Was it
ask
wrong
the
the meeting
question
on
and answer the
tarmac?
question.
Yes, answer both questions.
The answer is no. They talked about grandchildren and
According
nothing
to
else,
you.
nothing unethical in that.
You believe that?
And
I don't.
Well, that's what both of them said. But yes, both
I
of
did
them
not
said
have
that.
sex
But
with
as
that
to
woman
the
not one
second,
time. They're known
I would
for
love
lying.
you asked me a question about Jim Comey. Let's talk about that. What I just heard Doug say, now we can all agree. James Comey acted unethically to offer his opinion on Hillary Clinton as the head of a FBI. What he did was a firing offense. He had no right to offer an opinion
fair
of the
answer,
evidence.
fair answer. Why
he
is
cleared
it?
her.
How do you? How come?
And it is the
we
one
agree.
thing
All
that
right.
you'll hear more
Next
from me
question,
about
Counselor.
is James Comey's lack
No
of judgment
filibustering.
and ethics. I would agree.
Why do you believe the guy that said, I did not have sex with that woman not a single time, lied to our face? Hillary has lied for a year about the dossier. Why should we believe the Clintons? Why do you believe the Clintons with their history of lies? They lie a lot, Lanny, and they've been caught a lot.
Well, compared to the President of the United States, who I think we're up to over 1,000 lies currently.
Sean, to me it's simple.
This is the man who
Let's
said the biggest inauguration,
independently.
the biggest inauguration
Democrats and
crowd in the history of America. So
All right,
the answer is that Bill Clinton apologized to the American people.
But he lied.
And
You admit he
Donald
lied, right?
Trump has
Sean,
never
simple,
apologized once for
two-word
all of his
answer.
lies.
Special
He
prosecutor
apologized,
for both.
and Donald Trump can't say the words, I'm sorry for lying. So that's your answer.
All right, that's
Hillary
your answer to
Clinton
everything.
did not
Donald Trump. I didn't
lie
ask you about
the
Donald Trump.
dossier, and
All right.
that's my answer.
Lanny, thank you. You're a good sport.
Thank you,
Chadwin,
Lanny.
great to see
Thank you, guys.
You're right on the special counsel.
Thanks,
All right, the president. We are awaiting his bilateral meeting with in Beijing with the Chinese president. Laura Ingraham takes it from here. This show is not the mainstream Destroy Trump media. We are fair and balanced. Hi, Laura. How are you?
Hey, Sean. Great.